What is happening, YouTube? So happy Valentine's Day. I hope y'all are having, a good Valentine's Day, whether you're in a relationship or not. But if you're a Clippers fan, this is definitely a pretty solid Valentine's Day for us because the Clippers had a solid win against the Golden State Warriors, and it was a sloppy one in the first half. It was a combination of our defense was just pretty shaky, and also the Warriors was just hitting a lot of shots. So it was a combination of both. Some of them they were solid defense, but their shots was just making, and other times it's just we were leaving guys wide open and we were getting cooked. And then third quarter is when we stepped up, and fourth quarter we ultimately took control. And shout out Kawhi with the elite efficient masterclass. It's just very smooth with it, and of course two players had their flaws. It was Morris and Paul George. Paul George was just missing a lot of threes, and he gets sloppy with the ball a lot of times, and sometimes he kind of plays a little too passive during the crunch. And Morris, his defense would get boneheaded sometimes, and pretty much Jordan Poole just went off on us. And Warriors, they play really good basketball, so it's definitely never good to let your guard down. But anyways, let's go player by player for the Warriors. So Draymond Green, of course, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He does the dirty work, 15 points and everything. He's a very good, solid big man for the Warriors. And Looney is also the big man. He got a whopping 15 boards. But, Zubac also did his work on him too, 11 points and 1 assist, which is, solid job for Looney. Klay Thompson, thank goodness that he had a quieter night. A little concerned that he was going to go off, but Kawhi mainly played the solid defense on Klay Thompson. Dante DiVincenzo, he had 10 points. It's a fairly solid, efficient night for him. He didn't take much shots, but 4 assists and everything. Decent bench unit. Jordan Poole, he just went off. And without Curry, you have Jordan Poole to take the job, and he doesn't disappoint too much. He got 6 assists, 28 points. Crazy. Just pretty darn crazy. Although he had a low shooting night, but he was getting buckets regardless. Kuminga, very high motor athlete. Love the way how he drives to the basket. He's a very good power forward for the Warriors. Very good pickup for them. Jermichael Green only got 9 minutes. Did nothing much. Anthony Lamb did decent. 8 points. Hit a shot. Um, Defense was, nothing special. It was average. And Moody got some minutes. Ty Jerome. He has moments when he could be a pretty solid bench unit, and he wasn't really bad. He did his job with 11 points, 3 for 5. And Moody missed a lot of shots. Um, just nothing really too much, but it was mainly Jordan Poole who was just lighting us up. But thankfully we pulled through. But now let's get player by player. Of course, let's start with the main guys. Paul George. Again, he got 8 assists, so that's good, but only 12 shots. Paul George, come on now. At least let's try to get up to like 15 shots. That's where we like to see Paul George, take his shots and not try to be too much of a point guard. Although he only got 2 turnovers, so I guess the assist and turnover ratio was pretty good. So I will give him that. Um, and he did get cooked on defense, but a lot of Paul George defense was like not bad defense. He was just in front of the person, but the shots was just hitting. Kawhi Leonard though, he had an elite masterclass with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Just a monster night for him. Shout out to Kawhi. Just shout out to him straight up. Morris Senior, my man. Morris Senior, he only had 6 points and three. He did better on rebounding. 3 rebounds. I'll give him that. But defense was hella suspect. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I mean, like when he would get targeted a decent amount of times when um when the Warriors get their offense, he would get kind of targeted, which is sometimes um which occasionally would make it hard for Zubac to be an effective big man because then he would have to be dragged out. At least in past games, this game he got less minutes, so that's a plus. And because Morris, when he's on, it's the most beautiful thing ever. But when he's actually off, though, usually it doesn't go well. But thankfully, it wasn't bad enough that we lost the game. But obviously, if I had to say the biggest the key to kind of like defeat the Clippers is like Marcus Morris to have a bad game, and when he has a bad game, you could just target him on defense all day. But hopefully, Morris will find his groove and he will step it up and ball out. In the playoff, though, he does step up a decent amount, so I will give Morris that. Ivica Zubac, man, just feed him the ball. Feed that man the ball. Like it would be beautiful. It would have been nice if Zubac could try to like take 12 shots a game, like if they just feed him the ball more often. When he gets fed the ball, he balls out, and that 130 for 30 game, that was not an accident. If the more you feed Zubac the ball, he can actually be a very good player. Like if you have him take like 12 to 15 shots, he could be an easily 20 points per game top player. And imagine like I don't know, a Tyrese Halliburton or Chris Paul, just feed that man the ball. He'd be so effective. But um, Zubac, he did his thing, and Zubac got more rest, so that's pretty good because now we actually got Mason Plumlee, who's a pretty solid backup big. Nico Batum, I noticed his minutes are going down. Um, Low key, it would have been better if he played instead of Morris, to be honest with you, because he has better defense and all that. He's just not hitting his shots, but he would get more rebounds or more assists, or Covington over Roke or over Morris, or heck, Musa Diabate would be so ideal if we play him at a power forward, but I would doubt that. But you know, one man can dream because really, in theory, Musa Diabate could be good for our power forward or center, but now since we have Plumlee, power forward would be the more of the better option for Diabate because we already have the offense, so why not just beef up the perimeter defense? And Zubac can stay in the paint, and Diabate can just hound the perimeter. But but Batum and Covington could also be a very good option too. But Morris, I'm glad he only played 23 minutes in my opinion, compared to like other games when he just played a whole game and he would just get targeted on defense. But again, Morris does steps up occasionally, so hopefully he proves me wrong. And then Norman Powell, he was crucial, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steals. He didn't go to the line too much, and he actually was hitting a lot of field goals, so that's pretty good. He didn't even he actually only went to the free throw like one time. He only shot one free throw because Steve Kerr got a technical for foul. And let's just get to all the other players. I mean, man, honestly, heck, let's start with our 3 new additions, really, because man, Mason Plumlee, actually impressed me. He got 5 rebounds and 3 assists, and he got our ball moving. And a +6. He definitely gives it his all on defense. Well, I mean, not saying he's a good defender or anything, but he definitely puts in the effort, more effort than I would think, and he actually makes the right plays, which is pretty nice. The one play when I believe Kevon Looney was trying to posterize the heck out of Mason Plumlee. Plumlee was just there contesting a shot, not shying away from the dunk. He has the Ivica Zubac type mentality when players go for the rim. He don't just run away, shies away. Nah, he can test that thing, and that's why I say, or that's why when not just me but other people say when players get dunked on, that's an indicator that they put their maximum effort on defense. So if a player just gets dunked on like left and right and everything, and it was just a contest, and they just got dunked badly, you just have to respect it honestly. Like, and it's better. Like, honestly, they shouldn't be clowned on as hard as we do. We actually do to them because, again, getting dunked on indicates that that person tends to play pretty good defense. And Plumlee, man, he just hustles too, which is wow. That reminds me of Isaiah Hartenstein like a year ago. And Plumlee, I'm already getting impressed with this man. And Lawrence Frank brought a really good point in the interview. I kind of watched a bit in his post, like his, after the trade deadline thing, and he said something like, um, teams are not really going that like teams are not really needing a quote unquote a traditional point guard exactly. I mean, like not literally like basically he's saying the NBA is getting slowly getting more positionless to an extent because now like you got the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, people say Curry's the point guard, but yet some people they will question Curry's more of a score first type of guard, although he can pass the ball, but a lot of the times Draymond just runs the ball, and he kind of said that about Plumlee can do that, and Plumlee, hey, he actually shows that he could be a decent ball handler and a playmaker, and he definitely showed that in this game at least. And you also got the Boston Celtics. Marcus Smart is their point guard, but in reality, you would see Tatum who would run the point a good amount of times, or maybe even sometimes the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis would be the one getting the most assists. So sometimes it's not always you need this and you need that. It's just sometimes it's just more about like how your roster is constructed because the Clippers before the deadline we were pretty old and we had players who were like a liability on defense. Right now we got a bit younger and most of our guys can actually play respectable defense, and if they cannot, they have IQ. Only person who plays like bad defense right now would be Marcus Morris, but everybody else, they're actually respectable on defense. Well, maybe you could say Highland's a bad defender, but he makes that up by moving the ball pretty well, which I'm gonna get into a little like soon. But Plumlee, he always knows where he's at, and one thing that really impressed me is his free throws. Plumlee, I always would think he's a bad free throw shooter. Like his form is funny, but now that man went 4 for 4, pretty solid. I love the addition for of Mason Plumlee, honestly. Although ideally, my dream would have Diabate as the main backup big, but Plumlee is good enough to make me think a lot less of trying to push for the Musa agenda. But obviously, next year has to be Musa time. But for now, Plumlee, he's pretty solid, and some people are saying start Plumlee and all that. Me personally, I couldn't care less. Zubac and Plumlee, I like both of them. So if Plumlee starts, I would allow that happily because our offense would be so good and more hustled. And if Zubac starts, I would also like that too because Zubac can also be a more of a defensive type center rather than trying to get the offense going. So either way, could work. And then Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, his shots was not landing in the first half, but even when his shots wasn't landing, I could just sense in him that he definitely is gonna be something else if just once his shots are hitting. Like I see that potential in him. Like sometimes like the person missed the shots, but you can just tell that that guy is pretty good regardless because he's more of a slasher type player. And one thing that definitely separates him and Reggie Jackson is defense. Eric Gordon is a much better defender than Reggie Jackson. He always stays in front of the opponents and he doesn't get blown by, which is a big upgrade in my opinion. And Reggie, I love you. Shout out to what you did and everything, but man, Gordon is a pretty solid upgrade for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he got a decent 3 assists too and 3 rebounds. So I mean, Eric Gordon running the quote unquote point guard is actually not the worst idea, and he doesn't turn the ball over, so that's pretty good as well too. I mean, he's not like he's not gonna throw the most craziest pass, but he's good enough to not turn the ball over. And then the best part, Bones Highland. My nickname for him is Busy Bones Buzz. Because Busy is just his nickname. Bones, that's his other nickname. And Buzz is because that man makes a lot of noise, which means he brings the energy. And Bones, I just love the addition. And yes, I know, his stats does not look appetizing whatsoever. But if you watch the game, it's just different because that man is moving the ball pretty well. He got 4 rebounds. 4 rebounds, my guy. As for a point guard, a lanky point guard, man, that's a solid addition. So that's just solid. And yeah, he fouled a lot too, but I like him as the point guard in my opinion. And 2 assists doesn't look good, but when you actually watch him play, he actually moved the ball pretty well. He made the pace, pretty much faster. And you see that we scored 134 points. Usually before we wouldn't even score past 120. To be honest with you, some games we would only score 101. But now our offense just boosted dramatically. And Lawrence Frank, man, I was scared what we was gonna do in trade deadline. I thought he was gonna listen to all these casual fans who want to star hunt, go for I don't know Fred VanVleet or go for Kyrie or whatever. But nope, he chose to actually go for production. He actually goes for the player that we actually need, and he actually did my thing, get younger, and we just did that. And I know trading Luke Kennard hurts, but we got Eric Gordon, who's I don't want to necessarily say he's an upgrade of Luke Kennard because obviously he's way older than Luke Kennard. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I slept on Eric Gordon a lot too because I thought the Bucks were crazy for winning trade 4 seconds. I said, um, Eric Gordon is he's injury prone and all that, but man, Gordon actually he's actually shown that he's definitely could be a pretty good contributor for the team, and Eric Gordon is definitely proving me that he's worthy for this roster. And but going back to Luke Kennard, he had a lot of really good moments for us. He's more of a good shooter, but his defense would be his weakness occasionally, and he gets locked up if you put a really good athletic guard on him. But nevertheless, Luke Kennard is a good player either way. But the thing that kind of makes me less worried, less mad about trading Kennard is we got 3 second rounders, so that definitely brings some insurance for a bit of our future, which is that's a pretty solid move because you eventually need those picks because Kawhi and Paul George are not getting younger, and once they retire, some of those draft picks they could help us to get a solid draft steal, whether the draft class is good or if the draft class is nothing too special. Don't mind trading those picks, or heck, maybe we could use some of these picks to make a trade up for this year's draft. So that could be a pretty interesting option. So pretty much we got in total Eric Gordon and Bones Highland and Plumlee and 1 second round picks because I think we sent 2 second round picks to the Rockets to dump John Wall and just to dump John Wall there, which is I had a soft spot for Wall personally, but Eric Gordon he's not bad and he doesn't disappoint me and nevertheless the Clippers they could do better, but hey, I'll take this win. I will take this win, and we beat the Warriors by double digits, and I definitely I definitely like to see like when this team has his offense going because to be honest with you, if this was just 3 games ago, I think we would have lost this one because we have many guys who are just turnover prone and they don't make the wisest decision. But now you got Eric Gordon, who is not a quote unquote traditional point guard, but he doesn't turn the ball over and he can handle the ball and move the ball a little bit and play defense. That's key. Bones Highland, who pretty much moves the ball very well and brings in the energy, and Mason Plumlee, he could move the ball decently as well too, kind of like how Draymond does in with the Warriors, because both can pass. But obviously, defense is just a whole new level for Draymond. But Plumlee, um, his defense is actually better than I would think, and he surprised me. So those are three very solid additions, and hopefully we can keep the W going. And if we beat the Suns on Thursday, that would be pretty good. And let's keep the winning streaks going. Beat the Suns and then beat the Kings because two very good teams. And if we can knock them out, that's pretty good. And hopefully, let's keep climbing. And anyways, much love. And go Clippers. Peace.